This week I'm talking about this topic, how to improve your Japanese listening skills fast, because I know many Japanese learners find it difficult to improve their listening skills, to level up your listening skills. So this week I'm talking about this topic, and then this is part 4. Yeah, so you can see it. Yeah. So far we learned there are 2 types of listening activities, and then how to do each activities in your daily Japanese studying. Okay, so if you are ready, I hope our live is on. Yeah, I hope so. Right, so let's start this one. Yeah, can you hear me? So there are 2 types of listening practice, listening activities to improve your Japanese listening skills. First is listening to the Japanese language a lot, and then second activity is listening to Japanese language precisely. And then the first one is you use the like Japanese radio or podcast for native Japanese people, and then listen to the Japanese language a lot, like absorb Japanese language sound. Okay, and then second one is listening to Japanese language precisely to follow each details. Okay, so the first activity, listening to the Japanese language a lot, is a kind of foundation. Okay, so maybe you don't feel the how improve your Japanese listening skills when you do the first activity, but it's a kind of to lay a solid foundation of your Japanese learning. Okay, so number 1 is a kind of basic, and then second activity is the activity you can feel the difference, right? So today we do some practice related to number 2, listening to the Japanese language precisely, because I know many of you haven't done it before. So I'll show you some lessons, okay, to how to do it. Right, so the activity we will do is dictation. Dictation is you listen to the Japanese language without any visual stimulation, no text. Okay, just listen and then write it down. Okay, write it down what you heard. Right, you can use hiragana or katakana or kanji if you can. If you are not sure how to spell, in that case you can use alphabet version, right? But the point is, even if you can understand the meaning, sometimes you miss some part of the sentence. Okay, it's okay, but this exercise is to make how can I say, you can listen to the every detail of Japanese sentence or phrase or even a word. Okay, and then it takes lots of brain power, so please do not do the for example 1 hour or 2 hours dictation. It's not great. So but you can spend some time, like 2 minutes or 3 minutes a day, and then practice this exercise often. It's a kind of routine in your Japanese language learning. You can feel the difference. So let's do it. So please, let's try. Grab your pencil and a sheet of paper. Yeah, and then I pronounce a word or a sentence and then write it down. So number 1 is for absolute beginners level. So I pronounce 1 word. Okay, please write it down. Okay, number 1, kamome. Did you get it? Second time, the same word, but I just read at the second time. Kamome. Right, that's it. Kamome. Right, so let's check the answers. This one, kamome. Have you ever heard this word? It means seagull. Okay, the reason I chose this word is maybe you have never heard this word before, so it's a good even this is just one word, but it's a good exercise for you to pick up each 3-syllable kamome. Okay, it's okay you write hiragana or you write Romaji alphabet like this. Okay, it doesn't matter. This is not the how beautifully you can write Japanese. This is listening practice. So if you can pick up the 3 hiragana or 3-syllable, that's great. Right, so let's try the next one. Listen and write it down. Number 2. This is a little bit longer. This is a phrase or a bit short phrase. Okay? Sayonara. Write it down, write it down. I repeat again. Sayonara. Did you write it? One more time. Sayonara. Alright, so what's the answer? Sayonara. Yeah? Did you spell correctly if you use hiragana? Okay? Sayonara. This yo is long O sound. Okay? Sayonara and long O sound. We spell u. Okay, but we don't pronounce this hiragana u as sayonara. No, this u shows the longer vowel, this yo. Okay, so this is a kind of spelling things. If you spell correctly, brilliant. If you just use the Romanized version, that's fine. I write double O, but you can write O and then a little bit line to show the long O sound. If you can spell to show the long O sound, that's correct. All right, but you can use dictation to check your spellings. Great. So the next one, a little bit longer this time. Sentence. All right, I read 3 times. Okay, first one. 佐藤さんはエンジニアです。Write it down, please. Okay? Second time. 佐藤さんはエンジニアです。The last time. 佐藤さんはエンジニアです。Alright? Let's check the answer. Yes. 佐藤さんはエンジニアです。The engineer is engineer. Okay, so this is a job title. So Mr. or Miss Sato is an engineer. Yeah. So this one, if you can write katakana and hiragana perfectly, that's brilliant. Well done. So sometimes some people feel it's a bit difficult when they can write hiragana or when they have to write katakana, this kind of writing rules. So if you can pick up, that's brilliant. And then if you get the meaning correctly, when you hear this sentence, oh, I understand, it means Mr. or Miss Sato is engineer. But if you cannot write correctly, it means there are some grammar or spelling errors. Okay, there are Sato-san. This is to is again longer O sound, and then we use u to show the longer O sound. This is a spelling thing. Okay, and then this is hiragana ha, but when we use as a particle to show the topic of the sentence, this hiragana ha is pronounced as wa. Okay, so when you hear the sound wa, but if you understand, oh, this should be the particle wa, so you have to write as hiragana letter ha. Yeah, so this is again grammar and spelling thing. Yeah, yeah, sometimes you can understand the meaning, but you cannot write it down correctly. There is some, the kind of, small holes. All right, so you need to make sure everything is, you can follow every detail. Right, the last one is the most difficult. Okay, listen and write it down. Number 4, I read the same sentence 3 times. The first time, あさって沖縄へ行く予定です。Long. Did you get it? Number 2, second time, the same sentence. あさって沖縄へ行く予定です。Right? The last time. あさって沖縄へ行く予定です。Alright, let's check. This one. Yes. So あさって the day after tomorrow. 沖縄へ行く予定です。I have a plan to go to Okinawa. This is a sub-sentence structure. So grammatically a little bit difficult. So maybe this sentence is for intermediate level learners. But if you can listen precisely, you can write it down correctly. Yeah, because not particle e is here. This e means the particle. So that's why normally this hiragana letter should be pronounced as he. Yeah, but when we use this hiragana letter as a particle, we pronounce it as e. Yeah, so this is the spelling rule here. But other part is not so difficult. Maybe asatte, this small tsu, you need to hold your breath. Asatte, yeah. So, but the grammatically, it's a little bit complicated sentence. But when you listen precisely and then write it down correctly, it's not too difficult, I think. Yeah. So that's the writing and dictation practice. If you would like to try again, you can, once the live broadcasting finish, you can listen again, okay, you can watch again and then try it out. Yes, so this is the dictation. So maybe you find, I understand the meaning correctly, but I can't write it down well. I can't write it down correctly. There is some, small holes here and there. Yeah, so it means you miss something. Yeah, and then, it's okay. You understand just the rough meaning. A kind of summarized version. But if you train your ears and your brain to understand, to follow each detail in several sentences, your listening comprehension skill is much higher, right? So for your, so how many answers did you get correct? Yeah, if you finish, please type in, and then if there is somebody who made all the correct answers, that's brilliant, well done. Yeah, I know this is a bit difficult for the first time, but this is a kind of training you can practice every day a little bit. Yeah, just one sentence or one short phrase, that will be great, but you can feel the difference within a week. Yeah, I promise. Right? And then if you want to do some dictation practice, you can use for the Complete Japanese Hiragana. This is my book for absolute beginners, because this book includes a word level dictation. So you can, short words dictation exercises to catch the correct Japanese sounds. The short word is the best for absolute beginners or beginner level. Yeah, so if you'd like, please try it out. And then next one is Fun Japanese Listening Podcast. This is podcast, so it's for free. You can access anywhere. Right? And then you can download the answer sheet and then question sheet and then translation. Listen to the audio and then fill in the blanks, and then you get the correct answer. You can check by yourself. And then for upper beginners level Japanese language learning guide for traveler. This is a book for beginners, but if you use the dictation practice, it will be the a little bit higher level, like upper beginner level would be great. So download all the dialogue sentences. Yeah, you can access whole book, audio tracks. Yeah, so many. So so this is a book. I include all the almost all the Japanese words and sentences recorded, so you can access lots of dialogues and sentences, and you can do it as a dictation practice. That would be great. And then all the speakers are 100% native Japanese language speakers, all Japanese live in Japan, right? So that would be very useful learning book, I think. And then you can also download Anki Deck. Then Anki is an e-flash card style, and then you get the this Anki Deck includes the audio as well. So it's be great for you to practice and then listen and read Japanese words and phrases. Right, and then for all levels, if you are intermediate or advanced level learners, I recommend you to use audio tracks of your textbook. Not read your textbook, but just listen and then write it down. Even once you try it, you will find it's very different kind of experience, and then it's really help your listening comprehension skills. And then please, when you use any Japanese language textbook, please use authentic ones. There are not so great ones on the market, I have to say. So I recommend you to use the authentic Japanese language textbook. The rough guide is, I recommend you to use the publishers who publish only Japanese language textbooks. Multilingual publishers, sometimes a bit a bit wow. So my recommendation is use the Japanese language specialist publishers, and then teachers textbooks. Right, so this week we are learning 2 types of listening activities. One is listening a lot, and then second is listening precisely. And today we do the exercise to check your listening ability, the short dictation exercises. I hope you enjoy it, and then if you'd like, please try it again, and then use the learning materials I mentioned here. Hope you enjoy it, and then level up your Japanese listening. I will be back tomorrow, so I'm talking more about the another Japanese listening exercises. I'll see you tomorrow. Sayonara.